Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me in this time and space. I am Nikki S. Salas, your spiritual guide, well-being educator, inspiration giver, and all that other stuff. Today, we have a special guest, Mr. Zernul Shuckleford, that I love to call Z, and he is a cinematographer as well as so many different things. And I want him to share of what he's doing now, not only professionally in his business, musically, and what he has been doing to change his physical health. But it's not just physical health, right? Because sometimes, or often, it comes from a change of our emotional health and our mental health. So without further ado, Mr. Z, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Yeah, life has changed a lot since divorce. I mean, I had my business. I have a video production company that was I've been in production or I've been in business since 2012, officially since 2012. And I was still married at the time. And I just knew that right about that time, though, we had been married since 95. And at that point, I knew that it was we weren't going to be together for the rest of our lives.
Okay.
And but divorce was I don't want to say it was a scary thing, but it was a financially not viable to me, especially at the time my kids were like really young. And it just felt like if I was to divorce here at this time, that it would just financially just screw me up so bad. And it was just better to just stay, in the situation. But while I was in the situation, I worked at a steel mill and just made a lot of money doing that. And I decided to start taking my income tax checks and invest that into what I wanted to do in terms of video production. So I've been doing video long before, the divorce. But once I got the divorce, I was actually able to quit my job within like a year or so, 2 years, I think, after the divorce, because the business it's been growing and doing well. And I didn't have to sustain anybody else but myself. Like, I don't know if I was still married, I don't know if I would have quit yet, because it's not making enough to take care of an entire family, realistically, but for one single guy, yeah, it's doing quite well for that. And I could probably sustain maybe 3 people with it, maybe, but 5, no, there's no way. And 2 dogs and cats and whatnot. No,
and just life in general.
Just life in general, right? Yeah. So no, but
and also at the steel mill, Z. How long were you there?
I actually hired into the steel mill in '97, I think it was.
Oh, okay. You were there for a while.
I was there for a while, and actually, it may have been '96. I actually got in there because of my ex-wife's not husband, brother. He worked at the mill at the time, and he told me about it. I'd never heard of this stuff before. When I met my wife, I was working at a video store. The old school video stores with VHS tapes and whatnot. They didn't even have DVDs yet. That's how long ago that was. Yeah. When Blockbuster and stuff was still around and all that. This was just a independently owned store, though. The guy did very well because he had a lot of odd stuff that you just couldn't find in other places. So he did a lot of really good business. But yeah, that's actually where I met my wife as well. But shortly after that, her brother worked at the steel mill, and here I am starting a new family. The video store just didn't have enough money to do that, and no benefits really or anything like that, and once I got the job at the steel mill, it was like, wow, just the money was just insane, how much we were able to make, and really hardly do anything at all to get it. But it was good. It helped like a lot. I hated it though, because it was never everything I wanted to do. But it was what I had to do to feed my family. So yeah.
I want to rewind and just share with the audience. Now I had to tell you, I had to share this beautiful story of how I met what I call, and me and my husband call, Brother Z. Z has done a couple of my trailers for my books, and I'll leave the links below if you have not seen the video trailers. I call them my short films by Z, and I remember when we would talk about creating the book trailers and so forth, and just Z, I don't know if you noticed about yourself. You said that I want to align this to the video store owner that you work with, that he had different stuff. He had stuff that uh, that you wasn't seeing at other blockbuster video, just different video stuff. And that's how I have always seen you, that when we explained what we wanted for the books, you took it beyond that. And I will always appreciate you for that, love you for that. And I was so grateful to hear that you went out, when you went beyond. And I understand at that time you need to do what you need to do for your family. But you really diving into what you desire to do, and which is really in essence of who you are.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but tell everywhere, and it's another thing I would like to share about Z. He was in the service. So Z has been around the world, learning the world, not only through service, but the way that I see this as well, when we go travel. And when I say travel, it's not just a vacation. We go and we have these different experiences on this planet. And I believe it is to teach us more of ourselves. And I feel like even with you, being in the service and just doing these different things, could you say, is that what helped you to make your films, even your music, which Z is going to share about his music as well? Would you say that helped you to like be who you are?
Honestly, I was all that before the Marine Corps and all that. Like, so for me, growing up, I was always weird. I grew up in the hood, but I was never, I was in the hood, but never of the hood. Right. So like, I never did the drugs. I was never in a gang or anything. I never cared about any of that stuff. I never wanted to. I also never cared for sports. So I was always by myself whenever I could be. It was either me and my cousin Tito. We hung out a lot, and we were both just these two weird kids that just didn't belong where we were. But we were always very creative all the time. Like I always tell people, Spider-Man. You see, I got this Spider-Man thing. I always tell people, Spider-Man is my dad, right? Because and it's in a way it's true, because like there were male role models in my life, but they weren't ideal role models like at all. There were male people in my life. Like nobody abused me or anything like that. But I didn't have anybody that was like this solid figure that I could look at and go, wow, that's what I want to do, and this is who I want to follow, and that kind of thing. It was none of that. And so for me, I was always a dork, like Peter Parker was in Spider-Man. And so he was the only thing I could relate to realistically. And so that's kind of, to me, what kept me in line, even though I didn't want to do these things anyway. Like, the things that I saw on the street never appealed to me. So I didn't want to do it anyhow, but Spider-Man kind of reinforced that it was okay to be yourself and to be an individual. And so my birthday's on Halloween. And so I think that may be why I like Kiss, the rock band, a lot. Maybe I do too. I love Kiss. I just know when I first saw that, I was like, this is cool. That was cool. You know what I mean? And I wanted to find the music, but I couldn't find that music anywhere in the hood. And I would go to the local mom and pop record store and be like, oh, when are you going to get the new Kiss album? And this black dude was like, what are you talking about, man? And it really wasn't until my stepdad took me to a store somewhere. I don't know where. I had to take a bus for a long trip somewhere, and I'm in the store and I finally found a Kiss album. I'm like, I'm like, holy cow. And I looked around, I was like, wow, it's nothing but white people here. So that's when I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. Because like the whole black and white thing didn't matter to me either. Yes, I was aware of roots and all that. I knew all that stuff, but racism and stuff like that wasn't talked about at my house. And so, I found my first Kiss album, finally bought one and could hear this whenever I wanted to and whatnot. And, just the music, I just love the music, and picked up my very first guitar from a substitute teacher who I was telling all this to. And he was like, well, we have a guitar in the attic that my grandfather used to use. Nobody ever does anything with it. If you want it, go ahead and get it. Man, I took that thing home and I started learning how to play it, and it was all
yourself. You taught yourself?
Yeah. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I didn't go to school for filmmaking. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I didn't know anything about schools for this stuff. This is before the internet, right? So, like when I was in high school, I went to Lindblom, and Lindblom was a technical high school, and everybody wanted me to be an engineer. Just things that I didn't want to do at all. I wanted to do music and film, and I didn't know anything about Columbia. Nobody told me about Columbia. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what it was. If I had known that, I think things would have been different. And that's actually why I want to join the Marine Corps, because I was into superheroes and G.I. Joe and all that. And I was like, you know what? I want to join the Marine Corps, because I did not want to go to college at all. I had no desire to do that. I hated school. I couldn't stand it. I was good at it, but I hated it. And it was nothing I ever wanted to do. So getting a degree was never anything I wanted to pursue at all. And so I joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school when I was 17. And I actually had to get a waiver, permission from my parents to allow me to go in at 17, because you can't officially go on your own accord until you're 18. But at 17, you can't go in with your parents' permission, which was ironic too, because I wanted to be a Boy Scout and they wouldn't let me do that because they said that was dangerous. But yeah, I know. But they signed me away to the Marine Corps, and I'm like, what? I didn't question it. I didn't question it, but actually at 17, I left home, and I had not been home since. I've been on my own ever since then. Wow. And but the music and film thing was always in me. I was always creating little stories and drawing comic books and stuff. And even musically, I used to make my own recordings by taking 2 tape recorders, and I would record my guitar into the first one and then play it back and record with the other one and play along with myself. So I was like doing multi-tracking even before I had my first multi-track recorder. It all sounded like garbage, because I'm just re-recording the same noise over and over again. It sounded like crap, but it was the idea and the concept behind multi-track recording. So it was always there. Now, being in the Corps gave me more things to sing and write and think about, because I'm seeing all these different places and all that. But the creative thing I was born with that, and always have had that.
I feel that there's a difference between talent and skill, or I should say, let me take that back. There's a difference between gifts and skills. Skills is something that you learn, from somebody, school, or so forth. But gifts is, to me, aligns with your talent. It's just naturally, it flows to you. And like it's not even you teaching yourself how to do music or be music, right? Because we don't really do music. We are, or we should be music. And we're just expressing it, through different ways and sounds and, instruments and so forth with people. And I feel like that was just something that was just in you, just beating you. Like, just like your heartbeat, it's just like it's in your chest. It's like it gotta come out. It gotta come out. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I want to rewind to something else that you said about a few things actually. Spider-Man. You taking on Spider-Man as your dad, or your role model. And like you said, it was no harm, no foul to the men that was around, in your biological family. But I feel that, maybe Spider-Man was taken on as a dad or as a male model because he emulated something that was going on within you or of you. It's like, I'm this person. This is what people see me as. This is what I might be portraying, but I really want to do this over here,
Yeah.
And that's I believe that's a lot of people's fascination, including me, with sci-fi, fantasy. Doctor Strange is my dad. he in the Marvel comics, just all of that. But us looking to someone and saying, it's connecting with us. It's telling us, like I said, every time we travel or we, talk with people, we are experiencing a part of ourselves. And with you holding on to that, the image or of Spider-Man was, oh, okay, this is something that I got to get out. I mean, like even when he would let go of, and the webs, and that was him letting go to me of of what was, this world of what people knew him to be, and him creating, the webs and so forth. But yeah, that's
Oh
my
yeah. I love Marvel, and I've always comic books were a big deal for me. It was a nice escape. I love to read all kinds of books, but comic books just had a really special thing for me. And DC didn't connect with me as much as Marvel, because DC felt more childish all the time to me, at least at the time. And Marvel seemed more mature. And I was always older than what I was, like all the time. And people have always told me that, and I felt that. Like I just never related to what other kids were doing, hardly ever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was a kid, I played and stuff like that. There's no doubt about that. But just the things that other kids wanted to do, and I just didn't care for any of that stuff, man. And I was always on the outside. I was always weird. And to be honest with you, even with the gang thing, I think if I wanted to be in a gang, they wouldn't have wanted me to be in it. Be like, nah, man. Not this dude.
No, you wasting your time. This ain't for you.
You wasting your time here, bro. And it's funny because, like, even with the sports thing, I was never into sports. I was always the one they picked last. You have the two team captains. I got this guy. We got this guy. Yeah, I got. Then he get down to me. He's like, damn.
But like, who gonna take him? Do you know? Let's look. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Dang, let's do it again.
Yeah. And I didn't care because I didn't want to play anyway. It's like, I was happy when the teams were even and they didn't need nobody else. Like, great. I don't want to play this crap anyhow.
I'm gonna go over here and sit here and read my comic book.
That's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I do. I remember one time too, man. I was on the team playing softball, and they stuck me way out somewhere in the field. And I'm thinking, this is great because the ball's never going to come out here anyway, right? So I'm singing, playing by myself, and then Phil Phillips was his name. And to me, he was like little Black Hulk in fourth grade, right? He was just solid little thing, man. And he smacked the crap out of that ball. I remember hearing the echo when he hit it, come off the building and whatnot, and it's headed my way. And I'm like, oh man, here goes the ball. And I got all this time to think about it, right? And so my stepfather had told me this story about him catching a softball and it bringing his thumb back, and it broke his thumb. Ooh. And so for me, softball has always just represented the devil at that point. It's like, no, man, you don't catch a softball. So here I'm waiting for this coming, and the guy's running, and the ball gets really close to me. And I said, nah, I'm not doing this. And I got out the way, and it shot past me. It shot. You should hear all these little fourth graders cussing, man. They were so angry because I guess if I'd have caught it, the guy would have been out or whatever, I'm like, I said, you come catch this thing, man. No, I'm not doing this. Yeah, we lost.
Now that story right there is, like how you have reunions and so forth. That story right there is the reunion story. It's like, remember that time Z didn't catch that ball?
Yeah. And I think they tried to forget me completely. They wanted to erase that from history. And I didn't care because I didn't want to play anyhow. So yeah.
Oh my God, you say of being a dork or being weird. I too can relate to that. Growing up, my brothers, I had all brothers. My brothers would tease me all the time, though I was the oldest, and I had as far as musically, I listen to just to me it don't matter
everything. It does not matter. Yeah,
I love it all. Country music, all of that. If it relates to me, I'm like, I will sing it, I will play it loud. I'm the person that you will see at the red light. I got my windows down, and I'm playing, and they looking like, I still
Sometimes I do it on purpose. Sometimes if I know I'm going to stop at a bus stop, I'll put on the loudest, whatever the darkest metal I can find, just to get that reaction from people. And then when I get away from them, I'll put on some country music or something. But just to get like, what the hell are we looking at right here? Yeah.
But I play, because so I will always love, and this is what I was talking about. When I was younger, kid growing up in the 80s, Duran,
Yep.
kids, George Michael, just all of them. So I had them plastered on my walls, right? And this is at a time when New Edition and so forth was out, which I love and still love to this day. And I never forget one of my brothers came in there and he just shook his head and he said, he's like, now you act like you live somewhere else. And I was like, but I love their music. I'm like, so I too was that nerd, that was considered weird and dork, but I am a believer now that I welcome my weird, and I know that is Austin, Texas mantra, which I love Austin because of that. It's like welcome your weird, because and I'm going to break this down to anybody that does not understand, what me and Z is talking about. When we don't welcome our weird, our differences, it suppress us. It keeps who we truly are. And us, me and Z growing in a predominantly Black neighborhood, not listening and not doing what everybody else is doing, you are called the weirdo and so forth. Back then it used to hurt my feelings. I'd be like, oh my God, and I was like, I really want to listen to George Michael, but okay, you guys, if y'all want to listen to this, but it's like now, and that's why I said the other day I was in Miami, went to the beach down there in Miami, and it was real nice. I had my windows down, and I'm just blasting George Michael, and people, you could just see them looking, and I'm like, hey, I suppressed who I was for a long time, long ago. I will not do that no more. I welcome my weird.
There you go. I like that. Welcome my weird. I like that a lot. I think everybody should do that too. And I really feel like I wish that we were all encouraged to be individuals. Like we're always encouraged to be part of the team. And I think that's fine. That everybody should help to make the collective better.
Right.
But a finger doesn't try to be an arm. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so the finger has its place, and the finger has to do what the finger has to do in order to help the rest of the body do what it needs to do. But it's never going to be an arm. There's never going to be a kneecap or anything like that. So I wish we would stop with this. Everybody has to be this thing. Everybody has to, like in Chicago, either you're a Sox fan or you're a Cubs fan, depending on what side you grew up on. It's like, who cares, man? Maybe I like them both, or maybe I don't like either one of them. Like I worked with this guy at the mill. His name is Rusty, and Rusty is from Indiana. I think he's from Indiana. I don't know that he ever grew up in New York or anything, but this dude loves I think New York Buffalo Bills. I think it is.
What's that? The football?
It's a football, yeah.
Okay.
With a buffalo or whatever, and I think it's from New York, Buffalo, New York. I think.
Yeah.
He paints his hair. He's got a car decked out in this whole thing, all in Bears country, right? And he just does not care, and I absolutely love it. I told him too, I said, dude, you do your thing, man. I can't stand any of it myself. Like, I don't like sports at all. But the fact that you are in Chicago rocking this car like this, I think is just badass, man. And I just applaud him for that. For real.
See, that right there, Z, that right there is why we're supposed to welcome our weird. Because it helps other, and again, weird to me is not a bad thing. It's
not at all.
You doing what's differently from somebody else. And like Z said before, the function of a finger is the function of a finger. The function of a heart. The heart does not try to do the lungs job. They all, were, like he said, work in the collective. But to even help the collective, you have to be the best of what you are. Be the best heart, be the best lungs, so it can help everybody. And even with him, God bless him wherever he at. With him being that, it's showing other people that, hey, I don't really like, God bless the Bears. I love you guys. I don't really know football, but I'm gonna bless you in.
No, me neither. Yeah.
But it's like somebody else too could be like, I don't really like watching the Bears. I like, I don't know, the New York Jets. I don't even know if that's a football team. If it, and I want to talk, then do it. And
then do it.
That's why and what you said earlier about rolling, you get to a bus stop. I do that not only for me, but to hopefully
Yes.
help somebody else to welcome me. Like, yes, welcome your
Inspire
weird.
somebody. It's okay to
Yes.
be yourself. It is 100% okay to be yourself, man. And
Fly
don't
your
be ashamed of
flag.
that. Fly it,
Yes.
man. Fly it proudly. I do. I do it all the time. And you know what? It never bothered me when people call me weird. I didn't care because I like being by myself anyway. So I figured the more weird you thought I was, the more you're gonna leave me alone anyhow. So it's like great. No problem. Yes, I'm weird. Now go on about yourself.
Now, speaking, I really want to make sure that I touch upon your music. I want you to
Sure.
share about your music, and I want us to go. But first, I want us to go back to what was the catalyst. What was the point where it's like, okay, I can't do the steel mill no more. It's time for me to go.
It was always there. I think the catalyst happened the moment I started there because I knew I didn't want it. But what gave me permission to do it was, like I said, the divorce was final.
Okay.
My kids are all grown now, except for my youngest. He's 17, will be 18 this coming October coming up. So he just turned 17. All this stuff is final. Everything that I needed the mill for is now done. You know what I mean? Now, I don't make as much money as I was. Personally, I don't make as much money. My business makes more money than I did when I was at the mill. But like, I don't pay myself like I not like that. But I'm doing quite well. And the thing is once all those personal things are taken care of, divorce is done, kids are all grown, so they don't need me like that anymore. My girls they're all self-sufficient now. They're doing their own thing. I have one that lives out there in Florida doing her thing. One here in Chicago that she's got 2 degrees and whatnot and about to move into this apartment downtown. She is doing very well for herself, man.
Good.
And my other daughter, who's actually has autism, works for the government now and whatnot. So my kids are doing great. So they don't need daddy anymore like that, right? So everything that kept me at the mill is gone. And so it's like, and it was a little scary because, at the mill, money was coming no matter what. It was, almost guaranteed, everything but guaranteed, but all I had to do was just show up and I'm getting paid. Now it's like, I have to work because I was actually working when I screwed up and was late for this thing. So I'm doing my thing. Like, I think I got another hour left, and he said, no, we're all right now. Like, oh my God.
That's okay.
Yeah. But it all relies on me now. If I don't do it, I don't get paid. I don't eat. The lights get shut off and all that. So I had to give myself permission, but that was really just it. It was like everything was done. And I gave myself a date. I actually made the day that I left for the Marine Corps as well, because I left for the Marines in 1988 on July 4th. And it was weird because my recruiter's taking me to the MEPS, this military entry processing station, I think is what it stands for. And as I'm driving to the MEPS, I think there was either a Sox game or something that happened in White Sox Park. There's fireworks stuff going on all over the place. And it was 4th of July anyway. And I'm thinking to myself, man, should I really have done this? As I'm going out. But 4th of July was kind of like my Independence Day, my own Independence Day. So I decided to leave July 4th at the mill in 21, is it now?
Okay.
Is my Independence Day as well. And so, and I don't miss it at all. Some people think I was stupid for it because it was a lot of money. And, they were like, you should wait till you retire and all that. But it's like, I don't want to do this, man. And, yeah, if I'd have waited till I retired, would I have a nice pension coming back and all that stuff? Yes, no doubt about that. But who's to say that I would make it that long? I mean, the mill could have killed me. Anything could have killed me. And I don't want to die doing something that I don't want to do, and this is something I've always wanted to do. I believe in it. It's been successful. It's possible. It's 100% possible because it's happening. So I did it. I've had people in the past that told me that I should have jumped ship a long time ago, and just believe in yourself and all that. And I get that to a point, but I also think that you have to be realistic for where you are at that moment. And what I did, even for people that still had even the same circumstances, it may not be viable for them. You know what I mean? And I do think that, while it's great to have your own business and everything, somebody's got to work for somebody at some point. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything wrong with people having a job at the mill. And even if I stayed at the mill, or somebody did what I'm doing and still stay at the mill, because I know a guy right now who's making way more money than I am at his business. And he worked at the mill. He still works at the mill as well. This dude owns one of the most successful haunted houses in if not Indiana, probably the world. I mean, he's doing very well for himself, but he still works at the mill. You know, he still takes that money from the mill, and I ain't mad at him about that. He could easily not be at the mill way more than I could, you know, but he still sticks there, and I ain't mad at him about that, man. You know, he has his reasons for that. Go for it, you know. And in a lot of ways, it's almost, I don't want to say it's free money, because you do have to do something for it, but we ain't working that hard at the mill, man. And I dare anybody to tell me that they are. You know, there may be some laborers are, you know, it's at the bottom, you know, but the guys making the serious money, they're not working that doggone hard, you know, to make that money. And so to kind of throw that away, I get it. But for me, just going there every day, it was starting to, you know, affect my health. I gained a ton of weight because, again, we're not doing anything. You know, I used to operate heavy equipment there. So the machine's doing all the work. I'm just handling joysticks, you know, and I'm just swinging around. It was fun, you know, especially once you really learn how to do it, and you get good at it, and you start challenging yourself. You know, can I move this Pepsi can with this claw without crushing the Pepsi can? Yeah, you know, you can do that kind of thing now, you know. But it was affecting my health. I was coughing a lot all the time. I was just gained so much doggone weight, and my mental state, like I was just angry all the time, you know, and so I just had to let it go, man. And I'm so happy that I did. I don't miss it at all. I think my life is better for it. I lost 110 pounds.
Wow.
Naturally, you know, yeah, just because I just stopped eating the crap I was eating. I exercise every day now. I'm not a health nut by any doggone means. You're not going to see me, come on, everybody, let's go run for 40 days. You know, that's not happening, you know, but I do something every day to keep moving. I watch my diet better. I still eat. I still enjoy myself. You know, it's just that I'm much more aware of what I'm doing now. And I try to do things in moderation as opposed to the excess I was doing before.
I want to touch on a few things you said. The first is giving permission. You know, I know, and I understand, you know, even when my children were younger, me, you know, because they need to be taken care of. Can they be taken care of in different ways besides me working the different full-time jobs I had, whether it been at the post office or for? Yes, and then I always was doing something else. You know, whether it was doing hair, which I did for a long time, but I believe that was me, part of, you know, me trying to express myself, because we all do some kind of form of artistry, whether it's, we're singing, you know, we're making music in different ways, painting and so forth. It's us trying to evolve, right? I believe that, you know, if I had, I mean, it is what it is. The past is the past, but I didn't understand. This is what I want to say. I did not understand about giving myself permission. When the boys were younger, my thought was, and my process was, you know, hey, I have to go do this. And yes, I had to take care of them. That was my obligation. That was my responsibility. However, I was not having a I wouldn't say I had a real responsibility of myself. I was always putting myself on the back burner. But, you know, here and there, you know, I do something, you know, you know, nice for myself, but like really taking care of myself, no. Though I was, how should I say? I would find things to do, but it was not really what I wanted to do. Like you even said, you know, with, you know, your job at the steel mill, being in the service, it was okay. Well, this is what's offered, and it's gonna help pay the bill. So hey, you know, why not? You know, whereas now with my understanding that, like, it's possible, like you said, of even someone that you know, doing just different things. It actually it always has been possible, but if you're not seeing that, you know, you're not gonna believe that. And that's why, you know, going back to us, you know, waving our flag, that hey, be weird flag, you know, to the guy that wanna, still support the Bills, the Buffalo Bills or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he gave himself permission that,
Hmm.
hey, I know this is Bears country, but I still like the New York Bills. And that's my one of my goals now, not only for myself but for other people, because when we keep
Hmm.
suppressing ourselves, it does affect you, emotionally, mentally, physically. And what we're not doing well, when we're not well in here, our mind, not just our brain, our and within our mind, how we feeling and so forth, it's going to express its way too. It's in its own way too. So like when you were saying eating crap, eating, the way that you was eating, I I feel that when we are not feeling good with what we are doing, we're going to, it's like, hey, this is crap what I'm
Hmm.
doing, not to, put down working at the
Right.
steel mill, but this is not what I want to do. This
Exactly.
is not how I really want to, this is not what is well with my soul. So hey, it's easier for us to choose the things to put in our mouth, that's not
Hmm.
really well for us either. And
Hmm.
like you said, it's not even about, loving, like, to all the fitness people out there, but to me, it's just about, doing things that make you better in here, so you can make better choices. And sometimes the weight
Yes.
just falls off.
Hmm.
There has been so many conversations I had with people, even, including myself, um, making a decision to leave something alone, whatever it is, and weight just fall off, because literally you are losing the mental weight, so your body releases the weight, because we're living in an inflammation state all the time when you're doing
Hmm.
something that you really don't want to do. You're frustrated, you're stressed out all the time. And then when you let that
Absolutely.
go, your body's like, oh, oh, girl, oh my God, thank you.
Right,
Oh,
right,
we
right,
was waiting, because we're gonna let some
right.
other stuff go for you too. So yeah, when you gave yourself permission to,
Hmm.
Z wants to do what Z been wanting to do, that's been in him to do since he was a little kid, and they was calling him a widow when he was out there
Hmm.
on that field, didn't want to catch that ball, because that's not what he wanted
Yeah, not at
to
all. You nailed it. You nailed it. Exactly.
do.
Exactly.
So you said, okay, so when you left the steel mill, that, of course, helped you, and I want you to talk about as well, you in your business, but even when it comes to the physical health and mental health, and, well, emotional health, all of it, when you left your previous job, did you immediately start changing things as
No,
far as, okay,
no, it wasn't immediate at all. It wasn't
okay,
immediate at all. It was, it was definitely baby steps. Um, and the weight loss thing was something I had wanted to do.
mm,
And I think a lot of times I don't want to say I kept making excuses, but I definitely made excuses, because I mean, if you really want to do something, you're going to do it. That's just the bottom line. If you really want to, it's going to happen.
mm-hmm,
And so I guess I just didn't really want to. And what happened is I went to my doctor, and my legs were swollen,
mm.
and he had me raise my pant leg up, and he looked at it and he said, "Oh my God." He said, "You gotta go to the emergency room now." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" He said, "Yeah, we gotta get you to the emergency room right now." I said, and this is
Oh
serious.
wow,
I'm serious. I'm so serious. I'm gonna say I'm serious as a
wow,
heart attack.
no, no,
I
no, no,
said,
no.
I said, "Dude, I gotta get some editing done." I said, "Do we have to do this right now?" I said, "Can we schedule this or something?" And then he calmed down a little bit. He said, "Yeah, I suppose we can." And then and he kind of calmed down. And I don't think he should have reacted that way, but at the same time, him reacting that way told me, "Dude, get
Mm,
up off your ass and let's do this."
mm,
And so a really good friend of mine, she started a weight loss journey, and I kind of did it in lockstep with her.
okay,
And so I said, so we kind of were each other's accountability partner.
good.
And I did it. I'm also part of a organization called Envision Unlimited, and we take care of persons with developmental disabilities. My brother I'm his legal guardian, and he receives services. He's severely autistic, and he receives services from this organization. And I'm on the board of directors, and we have this thing that we were doing every year called In Motion, where you had to do 30 minutes a day of something, just being in motion. And so I latched on to that, and that kind of helped me also. That inspired me to keep moving and just doing it. And the funny thing is, and I got a Fitbit too. And once I got that,
I love those.
Yeah, and it was like that was just so motivating because it was actually I realized that I was moving more than I thought I was, and I'm like, well, man, if this is all it takes, well, let me try this now, So I just started doing things that, like when I go to the grocery, if I go to Walmart, I park at the furthest parking spot away from the door just to get the steps in, So everywhere I go, I park as far away as possible. So, and my kid, my 17-year-old, when we go to the movies and whatnot, he's always like, do we really have to park this far?
Like, I'm helping you out, young lad. Come on.
I said, you're gonna thank me for this one of these days, And he's looking at me the whole time we walk it, and he loves it too. But yeah, it wasn't instant, but I when it finally kicked in, it was and I started seeing the results, and the weight started falling off and stuff, and it just got more motivating, and like I could tie my shoes, because before, before I just had to take a deep breath. Go down, get the first one, come back up, wait for a little while, and then go down and get the other one. I used to get winded from walking just from my car to like the machine at work. And it wasn't a very long walk, but I would get winded. And I started getting to a point where I stopped wearing shoes with shoestrings, and I would just start wearing these I could just slip into. But that you couldn't really do that at the mill because you had to wear these boots with steel-toe boots, But I just wouldn't tie them. I would just put the shoes on and not tie them. And then I would stop. I would actually put my boots on before I got to work, so I wouldn't have to spend the time putting them on at work because it was such a task, But now none of that happens. I could bend over for days, tie my shoes, whatever. I can run. I run and walk. I bike all the time. I'm not in pain. I'm not winded. None of that stuff. All the stuff that happened before, none of it happens anymore. But it was not instant. It was something I had to motivate myself into. My doctor, he really motivated me just by freaking out that day. If he hadn't freaked out, I don't know that I would be where I am now. Honestly, I can't honestly say that. But he did, and I'm glad that he did.
Well, it's my belief, it's my knowing actually that what we consider, many of the bad, this of my own, I say this of my own circumstances. What we consider bad is to help us, usher us to the good. Like and I said this in the last video. This is this is before the pandemic. Now here was, I'm for years I was, working as a nurse, and and again, like I was saying, even with my boys, I was putting myself on the back burner. And I was coming when I worked as a nurse, I would have multiple jobs because they was there, And I'm here to tell you all, we're not supposed to say yes to everything. All opportunities is not a opportunity that's for you. So I was coming home one night from this one particular job, and I blacked out. And I thought I was gonna be gone that night because I was on the expressway on 94 actually.
Wow.
And thank God, it was at a time, with rush hour was over, and I remember it was a truck off to the far lane to the right, but it wasn't a lot of traffic. And I don't know how long I blacked out, but it was long enough for me to veer off to the road before I went off to that far lane where that semi truck was. And went to the hospital, after that. My hemoglobin was real low. And I knew that, that, these different things was going on with me. But I was like, well, hey, I gotta go work. I gotta go do this and I gotta do that. But my body was like, well, no, hello, let's shut you down. Okay, you're not listening? All right,
right.
Lights off. I'm like, what? Hold on. And it wasn't initially, even for me, it wasn't initially after I left that hospital, it was some time after that. But I was still recall this to this day when I go for a walk and I eat certain things, because a lot had changed since then. And I was like, yeah, you was telling me something. I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
It didn't seem good at the time, but you know,
Right.
I hear you loudly. Oh no, you said that on the bullhorn. Yeah, yeah. You know. So sometimes we need those loud. We need those wake up calls, because it's like, hey, like sometimes with my boys is, you know, I be like, hey, it's time to wake up and go to school. They still laying down. Hello, hey, it's,
Yeah.
it's time to get up. You're gonna be late. You're gonna miss that bus. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
sometimes those things need to happen. You know, I also want to share with you all the importance of taking care of yourself first before
Yeah.
anything. Again, you know, when I was working in healthcare, which I had left full this time, and this is nothing against nursing. It was just for me. I had to do what was well for me. I could not take care of myself in the certain positions that were offered. And once I learned the importance of taking better care of me, if it didn't align with what I needed to do for myself first, then I would say no. So, and I have learned that from taking care of people, where they would share their stories of, well, you know, I work this job, and to each their own. If somebody wants to work a job for whatever, hey, but just to give your whole life away, and as you're not really living, you know, and I mean by living, by having that time where you, just like how you could schedule those hours to go give to that company or whatever, to that occupation. I feel that we should be allowed that same time, that we should be scheduled. It don't have to even be the same 8, 10, 12 hours.
Right. Right.
You know, but scheduling time that, hey, you know, I just want to sit here and drink my coffee, instead of, oh, let me drink my coffee and run out the door, going for that walk, or however that you choose to move your body, because that is very important, you all. That's what helps to eliminate different kind of toxins in our body, help us to think clearly. I'm here to tell you, a good walk, a nice little walk outside or in your home, depending on where you at, it will do wonders. I'm a living testimony. It will lower your blood pressure. It will lower consistently, of course. It will lower your risk of diabetes, or if you are a diabetic, it will lower your blood sugar. Now, here it is, Z. I was telling this to all my patients. I'm telling
Oh,
all them,
wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah, I'm
not doing it
telling.
yourself.
Yes. And then, so
Yeah.
like, I said earlier, you know, when we go through these, whether we travel with that traveling be down the street, or we are having these experiences, whether it be conversation and so forth, or how we talk with other people, it's a reflection of ourselves. So one day, you know, a patient said to me, she was sharing with me of, um, wow, man. Yeah, she was sharing with me, you know, this woman at this time, God bless her wherever she is, whether she be in the physical realm or the spiritual realm. But this woman, I used to love seeing her. I worked at an assisted living center, and like clockwork, she would be sitting there at this particular table, talking it up with her friends, and she was just sitting there. So I asked the nursing assistant, I was like, hey, have you seen so and so? No, no. Like, this is not like her. So I'm searching around the place. I go to her room. She's sitting there and she's looking out the window. And I say, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, how you feeling? I see, you know that you're not out today. Is there something I can do? And she just goes on to say, she was like, you know, I remember when I was younger, they used to tell me, you know, I would tell them the different things that I wanted to do for myself. And they was like, oh no, wait till you get married. I went and got married, and then I would talk to people about the different stuff I wanted to do. They're like, oh no, you gotta have kids. She's like, I did the husband, the kids, the house, and everything. And I did nothing, none of those things that I want to do for myself. And she's like, and now I'm here because what was going on with her kept her from physically leaving unless somebody took her out. And she's like, now all I could do is sit here and look out this window. And when
Man.
when she said that, I was like, Yeah, it's time for me to start
Wow.
making some changes.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy. And you're right. I think we're so conditioned, like the whole job. Again, like you said, not knocking anybody who wants to
Right.
work, because somebody has to do it. Like
Right.
we all
Right.
can't have our own business, right? Because somebody
Right.
got to work with somebody. I'm getting
Right.
ready to hire somebody at some point in time, right? But we're all so conditioned that that's what you have to do. You go to school, you get this job, you retire, you die. And that's about it. Oh, there's the kids and the marriage somewhere mixed up in that. But it doesn't have to be
Mm-mm.
that combination or that order or whatever the case may be. And um, I'm glad that I finally jumped ship, because I am honestly, as cliche as this sounds, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life right now. And
Yes.
I know that sounds
Yes.
cliche, but
No,
it
it
is
don't.
absolute truth.
Wave your weird flag, V. Wave your weird
I'm
flag.
waving it. I'm waving it. I'm waving it. Yeah, I am honestly the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
Good.
And if I was to go right now, I would go happy. Yes, there's still some things that I want to accomplish. There's no doubt about that, and I'm working toward those goals. But I'm no longer angry like I used to be. Of course, I get mad from time to time, but I mean, before I was angry like all the
Mm,
time, and I'm sure that helped me keep the weight on and stuff like that too, because
mm,
my energy was just, I don't want to say I was negative, because I didn't walk around like that, but
mm,
internally, I just had a lot going on,
mm.
and honestly, I think the divorce helped me release some of that as well, because
Okay.
I was no longer happy in that relationship, and honestly, we probably never should have been together. You
Mm,
know, um, we got married very quick. We only knew each other for like 6 weeks before we got married. I was
okay.
definitely in love. I was in love. And we wound up having 2 kids together, well, 3 kids together, and
Mm,
um, it it just didn't work out.
okay.
But early on, I knew it didn't work out, and I just really tried really hard to make it work.
Mm,
But I was not perfect at all. I don't even want to make it sound like I was some angel. I was definitely not. But I wanted it to work. But once it became clear that I was the only one that wanted it to work,
mm, mhm.
then I started putting things in motion to get out and to get where I am now. And I'm
Okay.
glad for it. And I think everybody's better for it. I think my kids are better for it. I think she's better for it. I
Mhm,
think everybody's just better for it right now. So,
mhm.
and I think that's another thing too. We kind of condition ourselves. You got to stay with it and get married and stay. And
Mm,
if you can, yeah. But
right.
I mean, at some point, you got to know. Yeah, and I don't believe in people just being flippant about it either. Nope,
Right.
you left the toilet seat up, so now have a nice day. I'm done. You know, it's too much hair in the drain, so I'm getting divorced. Whatever. No, I don't think we should be
Right.
that flippant. But at the same time, you got to know. We did all the counseling and all that stuff too, and it was just like she had been saying these things forever, that she didn't want to be married anymore. But I didn't really hear it until one day at one of the sessions. She said it, and it finally clicked, kind of like the
Mm,
doctor.
mm,
Um, and it finally clicked. It was like, okay, let me just stop and just go.
mm,
And I let her have the house. I didn't fight for it. I just let everything go, because it was easier for me anyway to go and start over again. 'Cause that's kind of what I've been doing my whole life, really.
mhm,
Her not so much. And we come from two very different upbringings and different ideals about life, and just we were just two very different people. And I think at one point maybe it was working, but it just didn't. And I think we both just kind of hung in there for the kids mostly. I mean,
mm,
I hung in there too, because I wanted I wanted my family.
mhm,
I loved my family, and
mhm,
I really wanted that. And I was proud of it, and I wanted it, but it didn't want me like that
mm,
in that capacity.
mhm, mhm,
And I just think we're all better for it. So, if you're on the fence, man, women, whoever, just be real with yourself,
mhm,
about that whole thing. And and a lot of it too, when I was afraid of the financial pain that it was going to inflict,
mhm,
because lawyers aren't cheap. But eventually we got to a point where we didn't need that. We didn't need the lawyers and all that stuff. We didn't have anything. There was no property other than the house. No, we didn't. There was no massive amounts of money or anything. There was nothing that we needed somebody to come in and kind of be like, okay, well, you get this and you get that. We did it on LegalZoom, man. It was like, I think I spent about $1,000 tops for the whole thing. Yeah. And I was expecting, because when I talked to some lawyers about it, they were, oh, it's going to be this to retain and this. And if it gets stretched out, it could go on, blah, blah, blah. And if I had done it when I wanted to, it probably would have gotten bitter. I think it might have gotten bitter. But by waiting for as long as we did, there was no bitterness or anything. And it was just easy, and it was cheaper than what I thought it was going to be. And so I'm glad that it finally happened. And like I said, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life now. And I think the divorce helped me to release the weight and just to be okay. And like I said, give myself permission to do things that I was not able to do before. And here we are.
Sometimes, well, first I say this, going back to what we consider as bad, and to, that's defined differently with everybody. Just for me, because I have went through so many what may be considered bad situations, but I don't mind saying that because I love it now. Not saying I want to go through hardships and so forth, but it was from the challenges I have went through in my life. Those have presented some beautiful lessons that I would not give away for nothing. Like whether being a single mother, whether being institutionalized, whether being in abusive relationships, just all these different things. It has blessed me. It has given me some valuable lessons for myself, and I in turn am able to assist other people with. So when these so-called considered bad circumstances, can help usher us to our good if we choose to see it this way. And it is, what's good for this one, I want to say, for the individual, whether it be you and the woman that you were previously in a relationship with. We all, have to come to that understanding of what's well for us. And I speak from my my own, because I too, like you, Z, in a previous relationship, well, I was like, no, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna figure this out. Let's work this out, because hey, like you said, yeah, we're gonna stick through it, because hey, we're gonna go through some situations. But this person kept telling me, no, Nikki, yeah, oh yeah, I don't care if you made a big old PowerPoint presentation on how we could fix this relationship, girl. I don't want to do this.
Not the PowerPoint.
Right? Yeah, it's like because we could put on this beautiful show, of how we can be, or in my mind, this is how I want it to be, but this person, it's like, no, but that's not what I want. So I had to release myself for that, and not only releasing myself, but giving this person permission to be with, because I'm not that person that is mad at, because I've been through a lot of relationships in my past. I'm grateful for them as well, because each one was a step. Each one was a brick of the foundation of Nikki. And I could see some things in relationships, and people like, well, how you know that? I'm like, yeah, because I've been through that. Yeah, I've been through something. Oh yeah, I know. So
yeah.
It's and allowing that person to love, not only him loving someone else, that person loving him, but him loving himself the way that he was best for him. And if it didn't include Nikki, it don't matter if I was trying to do all these things. That's not what this person wanted, period. And letting that go, some beautiful relationships, not only as far as being with the partner, had came from that. Yes, that's how I met my current husband, which I do believe is the love of my life. But if I would have held on to that, I'm like, no, we both would have just been mad and just trying to fight, just trying to make it work. And it has but it wasn't even about him. It was me, you know, like letting it go. It's like, you know, Nikki, why are you even holding on to this? You know, why are you trying to make something work with when I say think of it now, it wasn't working.
It wasn't working. Yeah,
You
it
know,
wasn't working.
it's not, you know, every relationship would be different, but even in comparison to relationship I'm in now, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna share this with you. This is what this person said, which I still call one of my angels because he has taught me some valuable lessons. They all have. Me and him were in a disagreement or argument, as you say, because argument is just like So he was, and I wanted us to travel, you know. And me, this is something I always wanted to do since I was a kid. That's another thing I used to put on my wall. All these pretty pictures of all these places that I wanted to go. And again, my little brother come in there and be like, who this girl thinks what she thinks she doing? Like, she got Durandar in now. She talking about she want to go to Greece and Paris. Okay, yeah. You still gonna be living in the south suburbs of Chicago. Just
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And me and this person was in an argument, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And he said, "Why don't you?" He said, "You need somebody that want to take you around the world, because it ain't me." And when he said that, I just paused.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, and later on, when I was sitting in the room, I was like, "But he's right. So why am I trying to make it work?" And that was just one, you know, one of the things that, you know, the situations going on. But now my current relationship with my husband is that of what I wanted, I desire so badly. It happens where I'm not even asking for it, and he wants to do these things. And it's not, of course, it's not only traveling, it's just like some other things, like welcoming the weird. You know, I was so scared, Z. I was so scared throughout the years. I just suppressed myself with the different people I would be in relationships with, because when I would tell them, you know, well, hey, let's go see this new Marvel movie, or hey, let's go do this, and hey, you know, let's listen to it. And they like, that's
And what you talking
weird.
about? Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
crazy. What's wrong with you?
What's
And
wrong
that's
with you? Yeah, yeah.
right. And then I was like, okay, maybe it is something wrong. So now when I talk to Dino, he was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'll be like, he welcomes my weird.
Am I being punked?
Right. He
Yeah,
loves
yeah,
my
yeah.
weird.
That's great. That's great. That is great, man.
So
That
I'm
is so
grateful.
good.
I am grateful for it. It's, you know, letting go is the hard part, you know, and but I'm here to tell you, you know, when we get on the other side of that thing, you know, it can be easier. We just gotta
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
take
You know, and I
care.
think some people too, I think, you know, people can be completely compatible for a time. And then, you know, as you grow and you learn things and you start realizing, you know what, hey, I don't like chunky peanut butter anymore, you know? And this other person's like, yeah, but smooth is the bomb, you know? And it's like, I don't know, man, you know? And so, and you got to be okay with that too, right? You shouldn't all of a sudden, you know, if you don't like something anymore, it's okay to not like that thing
Yes,
anymore.
yes,
You know,
yes.
and not just keep liking it because that's what you're supposed to do, or that's been the tradition, or whatever the case may be. Like, and I think that's where we were. Like, I know I was in love the entire time, and I do feel like there was a time when she loved me too. And we just, as we got older and things started changing, because she wanted to travel a lot too, and really I could not. Not only we could afford it, the difference is with my seniority at the mill, the only time I could really get time off like that was during the crappy months, during winter and stuff like that. But our kids are super young, so they're still in school. There was never a time where I'm off and they're off at the same time where we could do all this fancy travel stuff. We did finally want to go to Florida once when we went to Disney. I think we were there for like a week or whatever, and that was cool. But she wanted to do much more because she used to travel a lot as a kid, you know. And but I also think that she had unrealistic expectations because she didn't work almost the entire time we were married. And I was okay with that. I wasn't one of these guys that were like, yeah, if I'm working, you better be working too. You know, nah. And I made so much money that she didn't have to, you know, and realistically, but I also sort of, if you want to, then by all means, please work. But realistically, if she had, we would have been just spending money to have other people watch our kids, because it been, whatever job she'd have gotten, chances are that whole thing would have just been going toward having somebody else take care of our kids. And I really feel like our kids were very benefited very much from her being there with them like that. Good. She's super smart. I just think, had she not been there, things would have been different with our kids as well. And I don't know that for certain, but I'm convinced of that. But because of that, there was just no way for us to really travel the way she wanted to. And I wish we could have. I would have loved to have done that, but it just, now, if I, like with my business, I can kind of go places if I really want to. I can do that. I don't, because I like to work. But I still don't like traveling during the winter. Even if I could, I don't like I need to be able to get back home. Right. And I could be in Florida somewhere, and if it starts snowing in Chicago, I got to be stuck in Florida for 3 or 4 days, and that ain't gonna work. So. But I just think we're all happier now. I think we're all in better places, and I don't have any resentment anymore. And I was still kind of angry after the divorce, but now I really see things as a whole lot different.
Well, like even like you said, with the children, and this is another thing that was discussed in the previous podcast episode. And Dr. G talked about healing Black men, but and healing communities. But in order to heal communities, which is true, it starts from yourself, right? And you go pour it in. So it's the same thing with, couples, that have children. And this is something that I tell my children, because the twins have children, little ones, and they co-parent, or one of them is co-parenting. And someone asked me of how could I be so kind to the children's mother and the new, other people that is in her life now. I was like, well, for one, that's not gonna never stop my love from her, because they are no longer together. I will still always adore her, honor her for being the mother of my children, no matter what. And whoever she chooses, or whoever, whether it be, I just never been that person that believed that, oh, you're not family, though we all siblings.
Right.
You're not family, so I'm not gonna talk to you. No, because it's for the benefit, like you said at the beginning, Z, about the collective. In order for the collective to be benefit, especially those grandchildren, it's for the adults to act like they got sense. And how can we expect those kids to act like they have sense, to be loving and so forth, and because they always watching, ain't they?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So this is happening. No taking. Yes. So I curse you, curse cat. What's the word you said again? Okay. Right. So I'm good. No. So when her new significant other would come over, hey baby, how you doing?
Right.
Hey. Yes to you and your other children, because I'm you part of family too. Right. And that's how you pour in, and it takes some sense. Yeah. It takes a level of understanding to get there. But that's how we help everybody. And I'm glad that you both are at a place where it's not about the individual, it's not about Z, it's not about her. It's how can we co-parent, because we still these children's parents. How can we co-parent so we can be better for them? I heard this a long time ago, and I agree with this. I was watching a show, and they was talking about, because I love to watch shows to see them at sociology projects. See what can I learn. And this person this woman was talking to her daughter, and she said, well, your dad has always been a good dad. He just ain't always been a good husband, and she was saying that, and it could have been a flip where he could have been a good husband and not a good dad. But and you said this again, about like being perfect, and all. We're not gonna be all, of what somebody else wants us to be. And sometimes, often, especially with our generation and older, right? We are told, well, this is what you're supposed to do. Go get a job. Again, this is no shade against nobody,
Right.
working. Go get a job, go get married, have kids. But how about if you don't want to do, go get the job? How about if you don't want to get married? How about if you don't want to get kids? So that frustration, like I was saying, the suppression is like, oh, this is not what's good for me. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
have children, and the children not being benefited because we are all beings, right? We all take on each other's feelings. If animals, a dog, a cat can tell that there's something off with you when you come in that house. That's how we are as well. And kids are a great indicator of that. If they know that mama don't really want to be a mama, or daddy don't really want to
Yeah,
be,
yeah, 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 yeah.
or don't really want to be a husband, or don't really want to be a wife, we are pouring them lessons. We are pouring them feelings into the kids. So it's like, at some point, it's like, which, has happened where people like, oh, okay, this ain't working for me. Whatever situation different people have went through. No, and I feel like we have to have some understanding for someone, and say, hey, this is why mom and dad broke up, not because, oh my god, because it ain't, it's usually never about the kids, right? It's just mom and dad, they just not meshing no more. So to understand that your parents, to you all, beautiful people out there in the audience, that it's not a point, or a finger towards you. Is that sometimes that they are doing the best they know how, and the best they know how is for us not to be together, so y'all can be better. So yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think all that sticking around for the sake of sticking around is just kind of overrated, and it's just something that's been drilled into our heads just forever. And I don't think that's the way to go, man. Again, I don't believe in being flippant about it, but you have to know when time is up, and be realistic about it, and be as amicable as possible. And yeah.
So tell us about this music, because I see all them beautiful guitars in the background.
So, like I said, I've been doing music for a very long time. Music, the first thing that I ever saw was lowercase n on Sesame Street. It was a little cartoon about this lowercase n, and that music made me cry. And I was like, what? And I remember asking my mom, I said, man, mama, why is this making me cry? She said, shut up, boy, go in your room and go play, But from that moment, I've always wanted to make people cry. And so I that's really was the catalyst for everything. And so I've been doing music my whole life. I taught myself how to play guitar. The first instrument I learned how to play. I played drums, keyboard, little violin, clarinet. I got my own little record. You can't see it all here, but I got a little recording studio in here. And I compose music for films. I've been in a couple heavy metal bands. I've been in a neo soul band with a recording artist. I love music. Guitar is my main one. It's the one I'm most adept at. It's the one I'm most confident in when I play. And then drums after that, and bass. I'm not as adept at keyboard, though I can't play because I have to play it to compose the music I do for my films and stuff like that. But there's people that run rings around me on a piano. Like, I'm not a pianist. I play keyboard. So that's a very different thing. But yeah, I love my music. And that is something I don't do as much because it doesn't pay the bills. But I am starting to take, like you said, take time for myself now, where every Sunday there is space for me to play my music. And I just bought a new drum set. So this drum set helps me also not only stay physically fit, because it's a whole lot more fun than walking. I'll play for like 2 hours on that thing. And that is a workout. That is quite a workout. So it fulfills my need for music, and it fulfills my need to stay healthy at the same time. So it just helps everything. And I do that every day.
On the drums?
Yeah, I play my drums every day. So it's an electronic kit. So like I don't if I don't want anybody else to hear it, they can't. But it's a full drum set. It looks like a real, when you see it, it looks like a real drum set. It's full fleshed out. It's like 9 pieces. It's massive. But the types of music that I play, I put a playlist in my phone where I'm playing along with these different bands and different types of music. So it's some jazz, it's some metal, and it's just a really well-rounded mix of different styles, which is a workout. And it's also helped me learn like different techniques that some of these, because I've never paid attention to the drums like that. You know, I hear it and I know that they're doing this stuff, but I've never really actually focused on what they're doing. And so now that I'm trying to play along with them, it helps me focus on that. And it's a heck of a workout. When I'm done, I'm sweating and I feel good though. I feel good.
See, and that's the thing. It's like finding your way to move, you know, like even and some people might be walking, some people might be running, you know, drums. I mean, that seems like a real great cardio. I mean, like you said, you sweating in it. Oh my God. Oh, and I love to just watch people do this. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that, but it's like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's heck of a, it's a good muscle builder too, because you know you're constantly beating on stuff, and the speed and keeping up with it and all that. It's something, man. And the types of music that I decide to put in there for the playlist, it forces me to keep up, and I love it. So it takes care of it. Takes care of my music fix, and it takes care of my need to stay healthy too. So
yes, good. Well,
but I'm also working on I'm working on the new cover tunes that I want to, because the political landscape these days is so jacked up. It just kind of makes me angry, but I'm no activist, and I don't want to run for any political office or anything, but I do want to say something, right? And so there's a song by Marilyn Manson called "The Beautiful People." It's my favorite Marilyn Manson song, and it's a very political song. And so I did a cover version of it, and I'm actually shooting a music video for that too. So I plan to release that before definitely before the next presidential election, because it's going to piss some people off, and I'm letting my family know too, that I'm releasing this thing, because it's saying something.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So look out for that.
Oh, are you going to release that on your, now what platform are you going to release it?
Initially YouTube.
Okay.
But there's a guy that I work with named Carvin. He has a he helps promote bands and artists and stuff. And I did a music video for another artist not long ago, and that artist connected with Carvin. And man, Carvin got his stuff everywhere: press conferences, press releases. I'm sorry, interviews on radio stations and TV stations and stuff like that. Yeah, so his music video has got a lot of views. He hasn't had much in terms of sales for his CD, but that he admits that's on him. Carvin did his part, and so I'm going to connect with Carvin when I release this to get this exposed to like everywhere, because I want, let's go make some people in.
Well, you know, again, everything that is or much of what we consider bad can be ushered to the good if we're willing to see it. You know,
I agree.
There's lessons in everything. I will say this. I believe, you know, like I said earlier, we use that term family. You know, it is my knowing we all family down here. We are all siblings, having sibling rivalry. And until we learn how to love each other, no matter what, like you say, you know, about being flippant, you know, I believe we have become, just we're not being understanding of each other. We're not looking to understand.
We're not looking to, yes.
And it's like, we can say something because, you know, this is, you know, in us that we, you know, we want, the reasons why we vent is to get the frustration out, but it's supposed to be seeking for a resolution, right? Me personally, I believe that it's an issue, and then it becomes a problem if you're not seeking to make it better. You know, then it's just a problem. But if we're not willing to sit down and have these real conversations with each other, and everybody put their stuff on the table, no matter what. No matter what you look like or whatever, because I'm here to love everybody. I have learned, if anything else, you know, throughout all my life, but definitely during the nursing, the different people that I would care for. Now, I mean, not only caring for as far as patients, people I had to supervise, just seeing life, my life and other people's lives. It's it all don't mean a hill of beans when it's time to go. It
No.
really don't. It really don't. I have when I worked in hospice, and my mom, when she was here in the physical realm, she had asked me one time. She's like, "Well, how could you do that? That seems very morbid." I was like, "Hospice is one of the best um, areas of healthcare that I can work in, that I have worked in, because it taught me so much."
I believe
Um,
that.
and to sit at the bedside when people leaving here, and them in their last words, saying that very same thing. It might not be the exact way that said, but it didn't mean nothing. This didn't mean nothing. That didn't mean nothing. We only give value to what, whether it be the dollar, whether it be a house, whatever, we determine its value. And until we start valuing each other as human beings, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. that's
absolutely. You said
that's
it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
yeah. We're missing the mark. We're supposed to be, all of this is about supposed to be teaching us how to love each other. Just like how so like I said, I had brothers and I had younger brothers, so I was always responsible for them.
Yeah.
And when I did something wrong, no, they did something wrong, I would get in trouble. And I didn't understand it when I was little. And I'm like, what, y'all? And after a while, I'm like, y'all get away from me, because I always had to get a spanking and only got a spanking because of them. Because other than that, Nikki was trying to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And well, a couple times I take that back, but most of the spankings were free. I had to think about some stuff.
Yeah.
But the lesson was that I received from this now is that I was part of them, they was part of me. We was all responsible for each other. And that's what we're missing down here. We're not learning that we supposed to, like you said from the beginning, it's all part of the collective. So whether it be this culture, this race, this, whatever, it's the hearts, the lungs, all learning how to function together. It's only separate when it's supposed to do the best job for the heart. That the heart be the expert of being a heart, be the expert of being the lungs. But now let's come together and let's work as a whole.
Let's make this whole body awesome.
And yeah, we need to get that lesson down here. Because I'm for me personally, and I understand that people want to be aware. You should be aware of different things that's going on in this world, but it's just for me. When I look at it, it's just like, oh, if they only knew, if they only knew.
I hear you.
It's not supposed to be this party, that party. It's
right.
It's like, oh, y'all, man, it's oh,
and
go ahead.
And then I'll say this, and like with the whole left wing and right wing thing, if you look at it, if you're using that metaphor as a bird, a bird with only a right wing is never going to fly. A bird with only a left wing is never going to fly.
Yeah,
it is just on the ground. And if it's and I'm specific to America right now, if the eagle is our icon and our mascot, then this eagle, if it's got two left wings, it ain't going nowhere. I mean, it's only got one left wing, it ain't going nowhere. Period. And if so maybe we need to find a new metaphor if they want to be this divisive. Right. The wings ain't it.
It's like what kind of bird y'all got when it's only got one left wing?
Yeah.
I gotta Google that. What kind
of bird only has one wing, right?
One wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, can it fly? I know chickens got two wings and they can't really fly.
Right. Hey, yep.
Hey, whatever, however you gotta express yourself, Dean. I mean, I'm thinking about my husband. Z, do express yourself. Wave
I
your
will. I will.
wave
And
your
and
weird
and
flag.
and the song is designed to make people think. I think it's gonna make people angry because it's gonna make you think. You know, because I'm not beating up on one side. You know, it's everybody is getting it in this video. You know, so yeah, I'm hoping that it wakes some people up.
I hope so too.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, hey,
I'll keep you posted.
It's for whoever that's seeking the truth.
Yes,
it's
right.
for that's seeking to help heal this world down here. You know, who is that? Bob Marley said, I'm not for this side, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not for this side, that he said, I'm for God's side. And what I mean by that is for let's do what's right. Like, even, you know, like I said, when I was younger, and you know, I would have the situations with my brothers and I would get in trouble, whatever, I would do the same thing with my children. It's like, okay, you said this, you said, okay, all right, okay, now we can only talk about what happened for so long. You know, what can we do now so we can move on, so we could be better, so we can move forward.
Absolutely.
This ain't getting nowhere, and I'm ready to for Mama got something to do. Come on. Let's talk about it. Or
good deal. Good deal.
You know, if we could only, you know, even when I talk to, you know, when I used to talk to the patients, and when I talk to clients, okay, this is what, you know, you are presenting, so let's fix it. Because if we are not, and there has been, you know, many times where it's like, okay, well, if a solution is not what you're seeking, then I don't want to waste your time, because you know, because I want what's better for you. And it would just, you know, end the relationship, the working relationship. So, and I wish them well, and when they ready to, you know, hear some truth and want to get to the truth and get to some solutions, then hey, I'm open, I'm here.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Z. How can we find you? I'm gonna make sure I put some stuff in the link.
You can find me on Facebook under Zernul Shuckleford, LinkedIn, I think under the same thing. I got a website. I'll send you a link to the website.
Okay.
I got a YouTube channel. I'll send you a link to that, and a Vimeo channel. So whoever wants to see the stuff that I've been working on, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Z, brother Z. I appreciate you.
Thank you. It's been an honor. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank
you.
You're
welcome. You're welcome. You be safe out there.
You
Tell
as
Dino
well.
I said hello.
I will.
All right.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.